What's up, fight fans? And we are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I am your host, Edwin. And where do all fights start? Round one. So we got a lot to talk about with this fight with Tyson Fury and Usyk. We have a lot to break down. Man, I thought Tyson Fury was a lot heavier than what he was. Now he looks skinnier. What the Saudi Prince is doing with the belts, we're gonna break down all that, the fight itself. So stay with us here at Round One Sports Talk. Don't forget to give these videos a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Let's get right into this video. So there's a lot to take in this fight. There was a lot that I want to break down in this fight, leading into this fight. Um, and a lot of people said a lot of interesting things. They had a lot of former world champions there, Lennox Lewis, even actors, movie stars share their opinion about the upcoming bout. The fact that the Saudi prince bought Ringside Magazine. So we're gonna break down each individual topic and what is starting to occur in the sport and what you can expect in the future with the sport. So, I'm not sure if any of you really noticed or haven't really, you know, paid attention to it because out of sight, out of mind. They're doing a very good job with hiding the belts. Have you guys not noticed that none of the belts have been shown in this entire press conference? The belts haven't been on the table. The belts haven't been worn by the fighter, Usyk. The belts haven't been presented. And none of the moments have any of the world championship belts have been brought up. And that's intentionally. Okay. The Saudi prince apparently is trying to, you know, take over boxing, so to speak, but in a way that he also keeps the players that are in it. It's not like he's trying to take the sport of boxing and just make it the Saudi Prince sport of boxing. No, he's keeping the Al Haymans, the Ed Hearns, all the players that know everybody. He's keeping them in it, but he's trying to make these fights happen. You know, bigger fights, more like the UFC. When the UFC has the number one guy, he fights the champion right away. There's no controversy, but there's only one belt for every division because the UFC doesn't have 1,400 fighters on average in one division. If they got 32 fighters, 50 fighters, that's good. But you'll never see all 50 of those fighters, will you? It seems like the UFC only does like their top 20, 30 rotation. Like you just see the same faces. The other night they had a card. It was like every UFC fighter in the last 10 years just fought to see who was going to leave the UFC and who was going to stay, kind of, right? So in boxing, there's a lot more. There's a lot more countries. There's a lot more men competing, men and women. It's just so much bigger than the UFC boxing. And what happens is when you become a world champion, that's the goal. That's the dream. You get there, you get these belts right here. And for as long as I can remember, if I wanted a box, this is where I wanted to be. The Saudi Prince, the one organization that seems to be giving them the most problems is the WBA. They don't want to play ball like at all, on no level with the Saudi Prince. The Saudi Prince, what he did was he went and bought Ringside Magazine. Now, they're also celebrating the 102nd year of the Ringside magazine. Now that the Saudi prince owns it, he's going to try to make that belt prestigious once again. He's going to try to use the rule structure of the belt, the award. Uh, and what he's going to try to do is go like the number one fighting the number two. That's the best fighting the best, basically, and honoring them, putting pressure on the real champions. He probably, mark my words on this. I'm not saying he's going to do it, but he's probably going to do this. What separates the Ringside magazine from all the other belts, no one backs the Ringside magazine, and they never have. It's exactly what it says it is. Ringside magazine belt. It's a magazine belt from a magazine company that all the boxers way back in the day used to get on. And when you wanted to like see, back then they didn't have like social media, none of that, right? They didn't even have TVs in some houses back then, but they had the Ringside magazine. Whenever you wanted to hear about upcoming fights like Ali, George Foreman, Frazier, the list goes on, Sugar Ray Robinson, all those guys, they tell stories and articles about them, and you could read up on your favorite fighter and be in the know. Be in the know. And that's how you would be in the know in boxing. So I think that the Saudi Prince is probably going to try to back the Ringside magazine, and what they're going to do is, rather than having the fighters probably pay sanctioning fees, more fees, they'll probably go that way. They probably go with the sanctioning fee way because it makes money. Because what they want to do is add more value to already a prestigious title. It's a title, not a world championship. It's a title. It's an award. And what they're going to try to make it is into a championship in the near future. And I think that the Saudi Prince is going to try to make that belt and convince the public that it's bigger than any of the other belts. Because let's just keep in mind, what keeps these belts prestigious are the men and women that wear them, the champions, the men that you saw. If he was the best or your favorite fighter, well, then what belt did he have around his waist? That's what made the belts famous. When you looked at Mayweather, all his belts were green, weren't they? The majority of them. He did win 3, right? In one weight division. But the majority, because the WBC did good business with Mayweather and they treated him good as a champion. Just like they bend over backwards for like champions like Saul and other, they do take care of their champions. They do, the WBC. Yes, they do. That's why they're probably the most prestigious organization in all of boxing. And even with Suleiman being present today at the Tyson Fury and Usyk, did you see the WBC at all? At all. I mean, anywhere, any belt. What did you hear today? And what have you heard leading into this fight? All you heard was Tyson Fury, right? Usyk fighting, and the Ringside magazine. That's all you've been fed. If you haven't noticed, and here at Round One Sports Talk, we point out these things because I think that the Saudi Prince was going to try to like get the belts. The only belt that's standing in his way, organization that will not play ball with him, the originals, the WBA. The WBA is an organization that feels because it's the original, they're entitled. They have a lot of entitlement at the WBA. They feel like, okay, so what? Our champions haven't been the best of late. And if we're being honest, it's the weakest belt to go for in all of the 4 major sanctioning bodies, without a doubt. You want to get a quick road to a world championship, and there's not really a lot of competition there, it's the WBA route typically. Look at any division and look at all the WBA champions and look at all the WBA ranked opponents. You're going to notice the WBA. Look at Rowley basically walked out of freaking the boys club and became the WBA champion. Isa Pitbull Cruz. Unfortunately, Tank Davis, he's got that WBA title. He is a champion, but I'll be looking out from the outside looking in, and I'll be like, bro, that belt, man, Tank, man, you might want to get another belt, Papi. For real, bro. That because your competition in your ranking system is not the best. You and Tanks, yo, in any WBA, they got the weakest. They might have a couple guys here and there in some of the divisions that are top guys, and because they know it's the weakest. So some of the guys are like, yeah, I'm gonna jump in there and get that belt real quick, you know? Um, so they really haven't been doing so great for their champions. I think Javante Tank Davis is probably one of their strongest champions. Come to think about it. Well, damn, Terrence Crawford also went and got that belt too. It's an easy travel. Terrence Crawford literally jumped out of one division and contended for the title for the WBA, and they signed off on it. That's how easy it is. Yo, some of these guys try to jump over and the organizations won't sign off on the fight. They will not sign off on the fight. Yo, the fact that they're trying to sign off on that Errol Spence Jr., I'm surprised about that. But a lot of times the WBO is like Keith Thurman try to jump in line. Hell no, we're not ordering that. The Manny Pacquiao versus Barrios, they said, hell no, we're not signing off on that. These belts, they won't sign off on these fights. WBA, what'd you say, Terrence Crawford? You want to got you. But that's kind of like a no-brainer. That's not fair. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I believe if Terrence Crawford jumped up in any weight division and he said, I want to fight for your belt, I'm more inclined to believe that those organizations would sign up. That's fucking Terrence Crawford. You want to put your belt around his waist. You know what I'm saying? That's the best fighter on the planet. Like, oh, that's a no. So that's not fair because of who he is. But if it was another guy, they wouldn't sign off on it. They wouldn't sign off on it. No. Um, but if you're big enough, like a Saul, like a Tank Dave, shit like that, these organizations do so. But what I've been I said all of that to say this, that the Saudi prince is really trying to do away with the belts, and that's the only thing I'm not liking. I'm not liking that at all. This was our sport. It could be corrupted, it could be fucked up, but name me one thing in life that isn't. Name me one sport, and I'll wait. I'm right here. That isn't fucked up and screwed up, or that can be criticized for a lot of things that they do in that sport. This is our beloved sport. These are our belts. It is what it is. Saudi Prince, I see what you're trying to do. I love everything that you're doing, the fight cards, everything. But please don't try to come over here and by by trying to take over the sport, you end up hurting the sport. You're gonna end up turning off some people because there's men and women like me that we're old fashioned and we like the way things are. As far as this structure, we would like you to clean up the sport. Get some of these top fight men and women to fight each other. Yes, but this vision that you have, or of one belt type thing, it's not gonna work. The reason why things are the way it is because throughout boxing history, they take down information and data. And they realize that we've already been there at one point in time. It didn't work. We try to please multiple people, and the way people were holding up divisions, and we made 3 belts and then interim belts. And still, we can't please everyone in boxing. And everybody doesn't seem to get their shot. But as far as the ranking system. They should be like an individual ranking system. Like WBC has 32 board members. They elect. It shouldn't be that way. It should be a real ranking system, all ranking system, and their rules should be, um, if not the same, like really similar. If the IBF wants to keep their 10-pound rehydration claw, like some of those rules will be different, but all of their rules must be the same. You know, and they'll have like those little ones like they have, but let's tighten everything up. As far as this interesting situation that happened with David the Monster Benavidez, right? And David Morale, when David the Monster Benavidez was accusing him of not enrolling in VADA, bro, I thought that was everything in their press conference. Out of all the shit talking, that was the one thing that came out of his mouth. I was like, whoa, let's not go any further. What do you got to say about that, Morale? Right? Like from right, we ain't going no further. He didn't deny. He didn't defend himself. He just kept on with the shit talking. And my man was yelling some serious shit at you. He was blatantly saying, yo, we had to call the PBC and VADA and issue testing for your ass too. Now we're both getting tested, but had it not been for me, what would be going on right now? Then it led me down a road I actually didn't know. In fact, this is not new. Many fighters in many other situations they have accused team morale of doping. Then I started going down I was like, oh shit. I was like, wait a minute. At this time, they accused him then and this and his team and the people that he works with. This shit was just kept going. And I was like, uh-oh, right? So we're going to find out. Did David Morale come into that fight the same man, the same fighter? Or did David the Monster Benavidez make it look too easy that red flags start going off and we start realizing, wait a minute, you didn't look like that and didn't throw them punches like you was against my man over here that accused you. And in that fight, they never tested either one of you. So these are things that would need to be addressed, and that the Saudi Prince, if he's really wanting to change the sport, he should hold these men accountable. Now, let me tell you something right now, right? Steroid testing is expensive as hell. Okay? I've been steroid tested before. Okay? I went into training like 120 days, right? The guy came into the gym. The guy comes in. He looks at me. The guy looks at me. Then he's like, okay, we're everybody, blah, blah, blah. Where everybody was signing who was gonna go where and do what, right? So he looks at me, the guy, the doping dude. Yeah, I had a conversation with him and everything. He leaves. I trained for 120 days. That's 4 months. He comes back in. Yo, he took like a look at me. He looked like this. He went around. He didn't say nothing to me. He went over to the other gentleman. They started talking in a circle. Like 5 minutes later, they was like, Mr. Montal, come here. And I was like, yeah, what's up? They was like, we want to test you. Can you come into the bathroom? And I was like, what? And and then I went in there. They talked to me, and the trainer that was in front of me said to me, he said, yo, I'm gonna be honest with you. These testers cost $1,200, between $1,200 and $1,500. If you fail, they're gonna make you pay for this because you're saying you're clean. I skipped the whole conversation that we had because I had asked him, why the fuck do you, the dude thought from what I looked like 120 days prior to that to what I looked like that day, he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it. He was like, that's not the same kid. And I was ripped, bro. I was, yo, and he couldn't believe it. And I passed the test, and he shook my hand when he came back. After they tested me, it took a while. I don't know how they do the tests now. I'm talking, this is more than 25 years ago this happened. So I can imagine that the test is way better now than it was back then. So, um, I said all of that to say this. The reason why I told that story is because to give you an insight of how expensive the steroid testing is. And on average, if you were to test every fighter, that's millions and millions of dollars. Who the fuck is going to pay for that? The sanctioning bodies? You could not test every man and woman in every weight division. Who the hell is going to flip the bill? The Saudi prince? I guess so, right? So my biggest thing was, and my biggest advice to the Saudi prince would be, right? This would be like, kind of like, I'm not sure if it'll be a solution, but test everybody in the top 10. Just the top 10, right? Once you get to the top 10, it becomes mandatory. Like that. I mean, it's a lot less money than testing 1,000 something people, right? At least focus on the top 10 fighters that it's all mandatory, including world championship fights. The 3%, 13%, whatever it is that they pay to the sanctioning bodies for the champions and everybody that pays to be in the ranking system should pay for that. Every fighter that ranks in the ranking system that pays sanctioning, that money, you could take a percentage from every fighter. You'll get the money to pay for those steroid testings the complete year. Yes, you will. You could take it out of that money from the sanctioning bodies. And then you can make like a fee, like a, I don't know, $1,200 fee or something, a $3,000 fee on the fight. And the championship fights, the fighters themselves pay for the last one or something. I don't know. Or I don't know. Nobody ever wants to kick in money. Everybody just wants to take it. But I'm just thinking of a way that maybe we can keep these fighters honest. Because once you start cracking the top 10, you know, you're not gonna go from the number 10 to the number 1 on a doping career, and then not just want to hang out at number 1 and fight the champion and just make money with a big name, right? Because you're winning fights and you're making good money, but you're just not fighting for the championship, so they don't catch you. Because typically this shit is random. You know, VADA right now, VADA is one of the strictest. There's WADA and there's VADA. VADA is probably one of the strictest doping agencies in the world, man. And you got to keep in mind, some people have these conspiracy theories about doping agency playing with the sanctioning bodies and that they're all in cahoots. That can't be further from the truth. At the doping agency, at the headquarters, what do you think those doping dudes agents say and talk about at the cooler, at the water cooler? Man, I can't wait to catch one of these motherfuckers. I can't wait to catch one of these superstars and put his head on my mantle and say that I'm the agent that bust them. That's their job. They don't bust no athletes, then they're not doing their job. They got to be out there trying to bag. They like the cops of the sport. How the hell do you think those guys are on your side? Some people just think about things just because they think it in their head. Oh, you don't think that these people all work together? Yeah, they work together. They work on busting each other. That's what they're doing. The people at the doping agency don't take bribes and all that shit, because if they did that, they wouldn't bust anybody, and the world would say, why do we have doping agencies if they're never catching anyone? If you think that they're working with them, all of the guys, and they're letting them all slide under the radar, the fuck you got the doping agency for? It doesn't work. You ain't catching nobody. No, they trying to catch you. They out there trying to bag these athletes. That's why, like the refereeing, the referee association has no ties, no affiliates to these belts. And it's for a reason. Whenever they say we have a world title fight, they they um call the boxing athletic committee. They schedule the fight, and there's a lot of things that the boxing athletic committee in whatever city or state or country you're fighting in, they call the referees. They say we need 3 referees. The referee association doesn't release the names until like 2 days out from the fight. Then out of the 3 referees they send, the guy that's going to referee the main event doesn't know he's going to referee the main event till like an hour towards the fight. That's it. That way the mob, nobody gets to him. That way the WBC don't be like, hey, ref, come here. Ever since the mob and these people have been giving referees little yellow envelopes. That's why the referee association doesn't even release the name of the referee. He doesn't even know he's going to be in the fight until they tap him on him. You got the fight. Regular fights and shit like that, yeah, referees can know a few days ahead. There's not a real, I mean, there's money involved, you know what I'm saying? Take a dive, son, type shit probably, but fighters don't want to do that. It's tough to go out there and take a dive and become a tomato can, and you've been such a strong champion, and all of a sudden you end your career like this. No matter what they say, what kind of man you were, the force that was Sonny Liston, look at where he ended up. And if you know, you know. If you don't know about this moment in time, I suggest you look it up. This was a dive. This was a bad look for a very strong champion and a knockout artist. Look where life brought him. And men and women don't want to sign up for that. Not in this era of social media. Bro, he actually thought that he could hide from this. He convinced himself, whatever situation he was in, whatever trouble, whatever money, and in those moments, they realized, listen, the reason why these fighters are taking the money and the reason why they're taking dives, you guys are not paying the fighters. One of the main reasons why they pay these boxers all these millions of dollars so that you can't get to them. If you're making upwards of $10 million, $12 million, what the fuck is the bookie giving you? He would have to at least give you more than that, right? That bookie has that much people, and then you can get to him? The bookie knows who he is. Bro, these athletes have a little bit of money. They can pay their bills. They don't got to throw the fight. They started realizing, hey, if you pay them, then why would they throw the fight? Who's going to pay them more than what they're already getting paid? They just let the fight happen. And whoever wins, wins. Let's place bets. That's when they figured out it was better to pay them. That's why they pay these athletes, baseball players, football. It's one of the reasons. Not like the key essential reason, but that's when bookies could no longer get to them. They only go to after the kids in college. They're broke. Now they started letting college kids, the top ones, I guess, it's like a 1%, right? To make some money. They still broke. You can still get to those kids. Yeah, you can. So, and sometimes you could get to an NFL player that's only signed the contract for $300,000. Late replacement. His contract's still $300,000. You think they don't look for those one guys? You're fucking right they do. Yeah, damn right. That's called cheating. You could always buy a ref, 1 or 2 guys. That's just cheating, you know. But look, back to what the Saudi prince is doing. I do am in an agreement with a lot of the things that he is doing. I like some of the things that he's doing. I'm a little turned off by some of the things that he is currently doing. One of the things I was talking about was these belts. I see that he owns the Ringside magazine now, so be aware that what will be published in those magazines will more or less be towards geared to his agenda of controlling where he wants the sport of boxing to go. There's going to be articles and things written. And didn't you see what they said in Ringside Magazine? Yeah, I know. I know what that says. I know the reason why I do this channel is because we fight against the narrative that some of these people are putting out. When they say that a guy is ranked number one and it's mandatory, yeah, I've heard a narrative put out before. Apparently, the courts don't deem so. The rules. But when the rules are presented, then everything's a little bit more clear. You basically do whatever the hell you want. The Ringside Magazine belt is going to do exactly that. The Ringside Magazine is going to be the news of boxing. Whatever that says, I guess it is true, right? And that's how most people are going to view it. Just like you see ESPN, the wide leading in worldwide sports. And some of the reasons some of these big boxing channels were ever created was because of the shit they were saying. We were looking out from the outside looking in and we were saying, no, that's not what happened. No, that guy did not win that fight. No, what fight are you guys watching? No, Lomachenko's not the greatest matrix boxer in the world. We've seen that 1,000 times way before him. We were like, wait a minute, wait, whoa, 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 whoa. And we started to know, we started to open our eyes. Just because they say it doesn't make it so. Then all of a sudden you started seeing these stories on ESPN and Max Callahan, he has a very brilliant boxing mind. And no matter what they did to Max Callahan, no matter how much money they put in his paycheck and how many monitors they put in front of him and told him, read the monitor, Max. And at times he made himself sound a little silly. That man forgot more about boxing than I know. Max Callahan is brilliant. But I'm also smart enough to know that, sometimes they had him say some shit that maybe you're at your job, bro. They're paying you to read off that monitor, bro. You can't get your feelings involved at that level in the game. And they weren't paying Max a fucking regular 9 to 5 salary, $50,000 a year type shit. No. So, you know, Max made some stories that I don't think that he really believed in. But he had to find a way to sell it to you. That's what his assignment was. That's what they told him they wanted him to do. And Max had to go and put a story together and then come back and feed it to you, whether he believed in it or not. And he made the stories about Manny Pacquiao. And unfortunately, I'm with you guys. I'm on the side where the day that Manny Pacquiao actually goes in the Hall of Fame, a lot of people are going to get a rude awakening. Manny Pacquiao already got it. I remember the day that the reporter really like stuck it to him and was like, "No, Manny, you're not an 8th division world champion." And he was like, "Yes, I am." And they were like, "Manny, listen, you know the rules. Like interim champions, gold, diamonds, none of that shit counts. The Ring magazine, the literal, that doesn't count. None of that counts. They give you acknowledgement for it. They will acknowledge all your Ringside magazine belts, your literal belts. They will acknowledge your interims and they'll put asterisks next to it. They'll say what division you want them in, etc. But as we all know, unless that belt says world champion, right? You're the super. If it has anything to do with a regular, an interim, a gold, silver, diamond franchise, if the my whole point is, if you have a piece of a championship in any way, does that make you a champion? No. You would have to beat the champion to be the man. That's what gives that championship credibility. If you call yourself a champion with an interim belt, then what the fuck do you need the world championship for? Just grab any interim belt and you're already a champion. That championship belt you got would be meaningless. Who's the real champion? There's 4 interim belts. Everybody's yelling, yeah, I'm the no, the organization will only lie to a certain point. They're going to acknowledge the real champion as the champion. What's up, bro? How you doing, angry white guy? How you doing? Man, I didn't even see Lionheart. How you doing? I didn't see you guys' chats. I had the thing up. So, that's what they'll do. Like, the organizations will lie, but only to a certain extent. Then they will honor and acknowledge the real world champion. When Max Callingham did that story on Manny Pacquiao, man, he did an amazing job on that story. In fact, that's where I was going to do my story off of everything that Max Callingham did. When I took his exact story and I broke down all the information he gave me on Manny Pacquiao, that's when I did my story. And I brought the truth to you guys. I got the chart. You could go check it out. I got my one of my videos. It's the Manny Pacquiao chart, all his achievement, every belt he ever won, every division and everything. And I broke it down. I remember the day that that guy, they were in Manny Pacquiao. They was like, nah, brother, you're a 6th division world champion. And he was like, no, I'm in 8. I'm in 8. You could see it in his face where like reality started to sink in, but they had fed him the story so much that he already believed it. He went too far, Manny. And he was telling too many people he was an 8 and it's so forth, right? And they did that because of his star status in the Philippines. He was so big, but he was getting knocked out. And they were like, how the fuck are we going to, boost that up to match his star status? So they came up with the idea, 8 division. He literally actually did fight in 8 divisions. The only thing that he didn't do was achieve the super world titles in 8 divisions. He, in fact, got interims, ringside magazines, and etc. Diamond here, there, and everything. So you can't take that away from him. Okay. He did actually fight in 8 divisions because I checked it out. Okay. But he only has 6 championships, in which, in fact, it still beats Mayweather. Mayweather only got 5. And I'm like, only 5. Like, that's easy to do. That's fucking remarkable. That 5 is Superman shit. Let me tell you right now. Okay. Not a lot of men in the world that got 5. My Latino brother, Miguel Cotto's Puerto Rico, he's got 4. That's my man, right? It's hard to do. Terrence Crawford is arguably the greatest fighter in the world, and he has 4. He doesn't even have 5 like Mayweather. So that, just to show you how hard that was. And Manny Pacquiao got 6, bro. You know who else got 6? Oscar De La Hoya, the golden boy. Yeah, he does. Technically, he got Mayweather beat. Mayweather just fought way more champions. Yeah, he fought way more champions. He defeated more champions than any champion in history. That's a big milestone. Huge. The 50-0 is not. That's a personal thing. That 50-0, there's no award that you go into the hall. Hey, 50-0. Oh my God. So what? Julio Cesar Chavez was like 99-0 or some shit before he lost, right? That's just personal. There's no award for being 50-0. But the other awards that he has, like the 5 division, the 23, 26, whatever it is, world champions, right? Um, uh, uh, he has a lot of good records, Mayweather. I have to look up his. I know that Vasily High-Tech Lomachenko has the record for the fastest champion. Then he has the record for the fastest man to become a 3 division world champion. Vasily became a 3 division world champion faster than any man in boxing history. And he also became a champion in only 4 fights, and he was the fastest in history. Now, those kind of records are records that we pay attention to. Naoya Inoue, he's coming up on his 22nd or 23rd world title straight consecutive world title fight. That's 22 world title fights in a row. No breaks, no tune-up fights, no meaningless fights. Every fight was for a world championship. 22 fights in a row. That's fucking ridiculous. Now, those are records. Naoya Inoue became unified all 4 belts and 2 separate weight divisions in 1 year. That's got to be a record. He got 8 belts in a calendar year. All the work that it took Terrence Crawford and 147, it took him 6 years to get those belts. At 140, it took him 2.5 years. Naoya Inoue, from the minute he won the last belt with Paul Butler, well then no way, you would have to shorten the time with Terrence Crawford, because from the minute he won the last one at 140, that's when the clock starts ticking. So when he won the last one at 140, then he became unified. From there to the next time, he got all 4 belts. So it would be roughly around 7 years that it took him to do that. From the minute Naoya Inoue knocked out Paul Butler, right? That was in December, right? December 21st or some shit, right? Right? Or 13th, or December 13th, or some shit like that, right? From that date to the next year, right? That overlapped the year. I know the years overlapped each other, but it still didn't add up to one calendar year. You understand? Say like he won the last belt at 2023 and he won the last 4 in 2024. You're going to see that. But add up the months. It doesn't pass 12 months. From the time he knocked out Paul Butler to the time he knocked out Marlon Tapales and got all 4 belts, it was within 1 year. He secured 8 belts. That's got to be a fucking record. He became a 2 division world champion in 8 fights. I'm not sure if Vasily beat him in the 2, but he beat him in the 3. Because Naoya Inoue defended that belt 7 times. Okay, so you know there's a lot of ways of becoming a really superior decade rated world champion, and there are some accolades that some of these men don't have over the other man, and it's what makes them special as fighters. We talked about this. I think one of the biggest problems that fighters have is that some fighters don't retire well. They don't know when to hang up the gloves, and they do a real big disservice to their records. And I believe that some fighters got pushed out of the room, but only because of their own doing. Fighters such as Roy Jones, he should have really been in the conversation for one of the greatest fighters to ever live. He really should have. With all those losses and being knocked out that many times, he pushed himself out of the room. He really did. He gave fighters, which I felt like Gonzaga, this false sense of, Gonzaga ended up retiring undefeated, and he ended up beating Bernard and Roy, but they were way older. Like, we know as fighters, like, if he would have fought those men in their prime, that dude was done. He was done. He just fought a shell of themselves. He fought a shell of Bernard. He fought a shell of Roy Jones. So and then, but look at the men's names on his record. Now you can't take that away from that man. Who did that? You guys gave that to him. He walked off into the sunset laughing at all of you guys, and he has the right to. And he talking about he undefeated. He wants to be in the conversation as one of the greatest fighters to ever do it. And I'm just like, wow, see what you guys did? See what you guys did? Because you guys you guys could not stop fucking Jake Paul. Jake Paul done outsmarted all of you. And I think that Cuba Gooding Jr. said something really cool, something in the sense of the things that I talk about, right? The beauty in fighting in combat sports. And when the lady was interviewing him, she was asking him, his opinion on what he, which way did he see the Tyson Fury and Usyk? He's out there enjoying the festivities. Cuba Gooding Jr., the actor, and he said that boxing is so romantic in a sense of, everything that it gives to you. It's just not the fight itself. He said, you can put together these mismatch fights in boxing and you'll still come out to watch it knowing it was a mismatch because of the fact that that anything can happen in a fight. And that little fighter inside of you wishes that the way you see it, it would happen. That's what's so romantic about a fight. And that they could put Jake Paul and Tyson and Mike Tyson in the ring. And even I knew Father Time's not undefeated. I still went with Mike. I still went with Mike. I was biased like a motherfucker, man. You know, you can't take my idol and think I'm gonna bet again. Like I was betting with my heart the whole time. I was so blind, right? Um, I didn't bet any money, but I led my brother astray and he lost $25. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure how he's gonna pay that, but I suggest that you know, he takes a loan from the bank or something. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Right? So, and QB Goody Jr. like he really like said some interesting things, and that is the same reason why I watch fights. You guys know me in Round One Sports Talk, man, and if you don't, the reason why I continue to watch boxing today is because I ask myself this one question every day I wake up: what does the greatest fighter in the world look like? Where does he come from? I want to know. I when I used to fight, I used to ask myself a question. I used to look the guy across from me, and I used to ask myself, secretly inside, are you him? To the other guy, I would say that, are you him? Pat, 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 pat. Nope. Guess not. You know, until I ran into him. And I was like, damn, you're him. Okay, okay, okay. Damn, you're him. Fuck. Careful what you wish for. Right? Because he's out there. You trust me. I've been there. I've been there where I felt invincible. I felt like, there was one point in time that I thought if I hit somebody, I would kill him. I felt that strong. I've heard a lot of guys talk about that, so I'm pretty sure you guys felt similar or the same way, and you know what I'm talking about, right? You always go, I mean, as a young man, like I always felt like, and then you realize you're not as tough as you think you are, right? Right? Because you run into him. You know what I'm saying? And like in my gym, I was pretty good. And then I ventured out to other gyms and I saw other dudes my age and shit, and they were moving a lot better than I was. And I admitted it in my head, but out my mouth, fuck that. They weren't better than me. No, 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 no. I will fuck you up straight up. I knew he was better than me, but I would never tell you that. I would never admit it. I'd find a way to whoop your ass. That's it. I beat a lot of fighters that were better than me, a lot better than me, bro. But I guess it was pretty much, my will, you know, or a good sucker punch, whatever it was. You know what I mean? But yeah, yeah, man. The sport is made like that. You know, uh, you have to train. You have to put in. You got to put in your work. uh, and maybe one day you'll become a world champion. But what this Saudi prince is doing right now, they're, he does so many good things that when he does things like this, I'm smart enough to know that I'm not going to let a single action or a single statement from someone to completely turn me off from what I can learn from them. This man is going to be eventually a staple in boxing. He has enough money and it looks like he's here to stay. So I believe he's a figure that we have to pay attention to. He's already, got some of these top boxing promoters to start at least working with each other. The only one that he doesn't have is the PBC, and the only organization he doesn't have is the WBA. So it's like the PBC and promotional, and for the belts, it's the WBA that's giving them the most resistance. That they feel like, yo, who the fuck are you? Everything was running fine, just the way it was. We don't need you. A lot of people don't want to give up their power. A lot of people don't want to answer. We don't answer to no one. Now all of a sudden you want us to answer to you? We're the boss. Now you want us to go work at McDonald's. No. We don't answer to you. This was here way before you came. That's how they feel. How the PBC feels. Just because you got all this money, some men can't be bought. Some men don't got a price tag. They were like stories of like the Mongols and shit, right? You ever see them, right? And they were like world conquerors of land. Some of them really didn't care. They knew the significance, what it was to get the gold and diamonds. Yes, they did. But that's not why they did it. And the king comes out. Listen, I know you're a king, you're a ruler and everything. You're a businessman, right? And as a ruler, you know what I'm saying? Let's be rational. We don't no bloodshed. I'm gonna pay you your weight in gold and diamonds. And they bring out the chest with the diamonds, and the Mongolian looks at him. He's like, "These are your finest rubies and diamonds." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right." And he goes and cuts the king's throat, cuts his head right off. And he dumps his head and his body with the diamonds and the gold into the pig bin. And the people come and they find the king headless with all his diamonds and gold right on him. And they keep it pushing. They weren't men that could be bought by diamond and riches. Some men in the world don't see the value in that. They only see the value in where they were going. You ever see that like crazy movie with Mel Gibson where he's like it was like some low money. They shot him in the back and he's in the room with billions and millions of dollars. And the dude's like, I got suits more than that much money. And he's just like, I just want what was owed to me. That's not a penny more, not a penny less. Some men are not in it for, you can't buy them. So that's why I see the resistance with the PBC. I see the resistance with the WBA. I see the resistance with Saul Canelo Alvarez. I see the resistance with Tank Davis. I see the resistance with some of these fighters. Some of these fighters are arrogant. Some of these people are like, bro, I don't answer to you. I'm Tank Davis, bro. Oh, no, Tank, we want you to fight. What you mean you want me to fight? You don't want me to do shit. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm Tank Davis. They're like, yo, Tank, you gonna fight Keyshawn Davis? No. But everybody seems to think he's gonna fight Keyshawn Davis. Tank Davis already said what he was gonna do. He got a hit list. Was Keyshawn Davis' name on that hit list? No. What makes you think he's gonna fight him? What makes me think that he might fight him, Keyshawn, son, stay ready. Stay in the gym ready. Because if Tank Davis is one of those opponents pull out, there's your way in. There probably won't be no other name bigger than yours, kid. and he'll be forced to fight you. And if you get that belt, which is already coming, that Barenchek is going to bring you, Keyshawn, you can entice Tank, but I don't think Tank Davis is going to fight Keyshawn. And no, he's not. Because before Keyshawn Davis came into the equation, Tank already gave out his hit list. He's got a certain amount of fighters that he's going to fight, and he's saying that he's going to walk out, according to what he's saying. Now, anything in boxing is subject to change. I just don't think he's going to fight Keyshawn. It's going to be one of those situations like Terrence Crawford and Jaron Boots Ennis, just like that. Just like that. It's going to be the same fucking thing, bro. But in this situation, I think that Keyshawn will move up before Tank does. Yeah, I think Keyshawn's going to be the one that gets out of the division, and he'll never end up fighting Tank. I think it's going to be one of those situations just like that with Terrence Crawford and Jaron Boots Ennis. Although an attracting fight, although a romantic fight, I would love to see that fight. Just don't think it's going to happen because they came up in two different eras. Yeah, Keyshawn's era is all the new guys. He's got to fight those guys. That's his era. His true era is them. What Keyshawn's trying to do is jump into the superstars of today so that he can get a fast track to his career. Smart move. It's up to Tank to take it. And I don't think Tank's going to give him a helping hand when Tank don't help nobody in boxing. You see how Tank is. The only people Tank fights are the people that he gives a little bit of money, and Tank takes all the money. That's why he ain't fought none of these big names, because Tank would have to pay Devin Haney. Tank would have to pay Teofimo Lopez. Tank would have to pay. He would have to pay these fighters. Yeah. So Lamont Roach ain't getting shit for this fight. He really ain't. Not compared to what Tank's getting. It's sad actually. You know that Tank don't give a fuck about nothing, bro. Yo, I heard Tank talk yesterday, right? And it reminded me of something that I preach, right? That sometimes what you want for your fighter might not line up for what he wants for his career. You know, I look at Tank and I want Tank fighting the best of the best. But maybe that's not what Tank wants to do. You know, sometimes I have the mistake of lining up my ambition, the way I would do things, to the way he would do things. They asked Tank about where does he see himself among the legends when it's all said and done. And in order to minimize what he hasn't done, he said, I don't give a fuck about them. So he would rather shit on all the legends to try to say, now what? The Hall of Fame don't mean shit. And that kind of like fucked me up a little bit because I was like, damn, Tank. You don't want to be talked about. You don't want your name cemented in the Hall of Fame. And he don't care. And now he's going to try to feed it. And there's kids out there that are listening to him. Tank, in like 10 years, 15 years, you'll have to like, somebody will be talking. Oh yeah, remember Tank Davis? He was pretty good. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's talk about real legends. And what about Floyd and I'm Ali? Like Ali is cemented in the boxing hall of immortality. I guarantee it, 30 years from now, they're going to be talking about Ali. Yeah, they will. But in less than 10 years, we won't be talking about Tank Davis no more. And it's going to be a indication of like, I know a lot better fighters that did just about as much as Tank did, and people don't talk about those guys no more. Who do you see that talk about Paenza, Arturo Gatti, and like some of these other champions? No. What keeps these guys always at the top or the Hall of Fame status and what Hall of Fame does for you You know, the Hall of Fame always talks up their fighter that keeps you engaged and their names up, you know. It kind of that fucked me up. I gotta admit, I was like, "Damn, Tank, come on, my dude, bro, really, Tank?" Because now you see you didn't achieve much, and you're probably not going. That in order for you to lash out and to get it, like, "Oh yeah, I'm tough. Yeah, I don't care about the legends and where they talk about. I don't care about that, bro. You sound bitter. You know you fucked up, bro. But you think you can correct all of this if you get out of your fucking money hungry ways, bro. You're just like Floyd. Floyd made himself a worser version of himself. He's so fucking greedy that he's not gonna want it. And when he says, like, don't get it fucked up, right? Tank will be like, yo, I'll give you a 50-50 fight. We'll split it 50-50. That's a lie. That is just a fucking lie. Like, I looked into all his little stupid contracts. Yeah, he'll give you a split 50-50 or with a with the purse, not the live gate and not pay-per-view. And he tries to give you that false impression that he's splitting everything down the line with you. The only dude he paid was Ryan. He did pay Ryan, but he didn't even pay Ryan all that good. Ryan took everything and said yes to everything. Ryan got juked in that fight too, as well, but he did get paid, right? Uh, and that's Tank's problem. That's the true Achilles heels when Tank. When you see all this shit, why didn't Tank fight this dude? Why didn't Tank that? I'm sitting here going like this. I'm saying, wow, a lot of these people haven't put this together yet, huh? I'll just let him continue fighting. It was never gonna happen because he's scared or someone was ducking. It was always about the bag with Tank. Always. Always, 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 always. He was all about money, business. Tank. He didn't care about the belts. He don't care about Hall of Fame. Just money. And my ambitions for him and what I thought for him as a fighter and what kind of champion he could be doesn't line up. And I gotta ask myself, those are my ambitions. I wish he would want to pursue and shut some of these people up because I revere him as such a talented fighter. And I just know that he would have been such a better decorated champion. But when you hear the guy himself that you revere like that say he doesn't care about that, kind of like, kind of lets me down in a way. You know, that's why I notice how fighters like Ryan Garcia, Keyshawn Davis, they all quickly changed their tune. First, they were on that shit. Belts don't matter. We can make money without these belts, and that's just the biggest lie in like all of sports. You know, the people that have ever said belts don't matter, not one of them ever, not, and I mean this, not one of those guys know what they're talking about. Not one, because not one of them could ever prove me wrong and the fact that belts don't matter shit, right? Because the problem with their theories is that what they want you to do is watch a fight that like none of the belts were advertised, but what they're not telling you is who these fighters are. You understand? Like, okay, right now they're trying to say belts don't matter with the Uzi Tyson Fury. That's bullshit. That's so much bullshit. All right. In the back of your mind, is Usyk the heavyweight champion of the world? Yes. You know this. That's part of his success. Without him being the heavyweight championship of the world, you wouldn't be able to feed this fight to us. We already know that. When a fighter like Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fought, and they're like, oh, no belts on the line. Yes, there was. Mike Tyson got 150 million belts. You know who Mike Tyson is? The belt wasn't on the line per se, like a belt in the ring, but who Mike Tyson was as a decorated fighter and champion is what sold that fight. So belts do matter. You think that if Mike Tyson didn't have all that success, you could just grab any heavyweight from the fucking boys club, no championship experience, and put him in there and make all that money? Bullshit. What made the fight is that Mike Tyson was that kind of champion. That's what they're not telling you. When any of these fights, when Ryan Garcia fought against Devin Haney, oh shit, that was the most money he ever made. Why? It was announced for a belt. All these fights that you see that are going on, yeah, they make money. They're not making Jake Paul, Mike Tyson money. No. The only reason why that Jake Paul fight sold was because of the world champion that Mike Tyson is. Yeah, there wasn't no belt on the line, but Mike Tyson brings all his belts that you know of. That's part of his success. The belts matter. They matter like a motherfucker. You ever notice the people that say belts don't matter are men and women that don't have very much or any, in fact? Well said from a person that can't get these belts. Well said from a person that only has 2 belts and you can't do no more. So you want to shit on the guys that are 5 divisions, multiple, have all 4 belts? Yeah, that don't mean shit. Well said from a man that's not going to the Hall of Fame. Well said. You don't know nothing about belts. You never had enough. You don't know what it's like to be that kind of champion and walked in the room and everybody stands up. That's him. Well said from a man that hasn't achieved shit. What you know about belts? So, that's the belts is everything, man. I don't know about you guys, but whoever wins in this Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk fight, I want to see the belts on them when the win. I don't care if it's 3, 4, 1, 2. I don't care. When I watch a world championship fight, I want to see the world championship belt. I don't want to see your made up belt that has no value. And in actuality, they weren't fighting for your belt. Your belt has no backing. It has no weight. It's meaningless. That don't mean shit. That little fancy belt that they made that said unified, and the one that they made for Terrence Crawford from the ring with the white, yeah, nice awards. Yeah, look how shiny, look how pretty it is. But they're fucking meaningless. That belt don't mean shit. Nothing. Bro, you might as well wrap that around your kid or put it on your desk as a paperweight. And then that's the belt they had him hold up. The belt that don't mean shit. They trying to change shit, bro. They trying to do away with these things if they don't play ball. And how powerful that the Saudi prince is, he's got enough money to even silence the fuck is Suleiman. That was right there, the WBC dude. But you didn't see his belt nowhere. I was like, God damn, how powerful is this dude? This Saudi prince dude. How powerful is he? This motherfucker silenced all the belts. He silenced all of them, except the IBF that are gangster. The IBF is from Jersey, kid. And they ain't playing that shit. Forget about it. You know what I'm saying? If the IBF was there, you know what I'm saying? Hey. Forget about it. IBF is gonna be around his waist. You know what I mean? Because they from Jersey and they don't play that shit. The IBF is a bunch of gangsters. And they're not there. They're not in attendance. The IBF champion is Daniel Dubois. So, yeah, man, listen, that surprised me, man. They got away with it with the Arthur Benavidez fight, and they put that unified fake ass belt, and now they're getting away with it here. Tell me when this is the world championship fight. Anyone, please, anyone, send me a video where they showed the belts. Where have you seen the belts? I don't. This is fucking ridiculous, bro. This really is. What's up, guys? What's up, Bam Bam? Let me drop this link and let me read y'all some of y'all messages. I said enough. I said everything I wanted to say, basically. And just in case anybody wants to join real quick, we can shoot the shit. You know, come up here like men. We don't got to swear at each other, cuss at each other. We don't even have to debate. We can just talk boxing if you like. If you want to debate something, we can debate it too. But if you just want to talk, we'll talk. IBS is the only real champs. Angry White Guy, what up, baby? Yeah, baby. Yeah, yeah, brother. Yeah, he's trying to eliminate American boxing in a way. Well, um, I'm not sure if he's trying to eliminate American boxing, right? So much than just to control it. Um, you know, the Saudi prince thinks that human beings are robots. He sees in the UFC, oh, the best is always fighting the best, this and that, right? Okay. The problem with that is, right, that the UFC, although dangerous sport, it's not more dangerous than boxing. Stay with me. Let me explain. I know that the UFC is more dangerous because you use all your limbs. You're able to utilize your wrestling, your legs, and everything, knees, elbows. It's more dangerous in that regards. Yes, it is 100% more, but it is not more dangerous than boxing in this regard. The only place, the only two places you punch in boxing is your head and your stomach. The majority of the damage you take in boxing are all headshots. In the UFC, you can get wrestled down, choked out. You can sustain big injuries, but your career could be a little bit longer, you know, if you don't snap an arm or a leg or something, just like any injury in the sport. But boxing is a constant sport that's punching in your head. The likelihood of damage that you can sustain by standing up and just exchanging face punches, the UFC, if you get caught one big knockout, whatever, boom. You didn't just box for 12 rounds and all of the majority of the punches went to your face, to your head. By the time you're 60 years old, you'll have depend diapers on and you'll be because you're gonna fucking brain's gonna be mush. That's why boxing is way more dangerous than the UFC. The UFC fighters, you see them 50 years old. Chuck Liddell, still there. They be twitching a little. Some of them got it. You see it. They talk a little slow. They took some big elbows and big shots. Yeah. But some UFC fighters scaved through with John Jones, who beat him up. Mighty Mouse Johnson, who punched him in the face. Like a lot of these guys, Alex Pereira, he got knocked out by Homeboy, but they don't take constant. Every round, pow, poof, pow, poof, pow, poof. So when you try to fight the best, fighting the best in boxing, bro, your career is going to be shit. Your brain will be mush in like 6 years. You won't make it into a 10-year career. And that's like minimum basic in boxing, a 10-year career. By the time you got to 6 years, you mean to tell me that you think that a human being can go in war after war like Manny Pacquiao, like those Manny Pacquiao wars? You mean to tell me, look at Arturo Gotti and Mickey Ward after they fought just those 3 fights. Look what they look like. Look how they talk. You can change a man's life in one fight in boxing. You could also do it in the UFC, yes. But do you get what I'm saying? Yo, every fight punches right to. Yo, your brain is rocking every day. If you fight, if you think you're going to go into a Manny Pacquiao war, another Manny Pacquiao war, another Manny Pacquiao war, because according to this fucking Saudi prince, the bad's fighting. Bro, we're not robots. In actuality, boxing is a business disguised as a sport. We're supposed to sell you to tell you that the next fight is a big fight when we really know it's not. Because we want you to back us as fans, but we're not Superman. We need a smaller, common fight like Naoya Inoue did, right? He gets dropped in his last fight. You want him to go on another war? Nah, whoa. We'll fight the number 2 guy, TJ Doheny. Go in there, fuck him up. Get a little break in between your fights, bro. And this Saudi prince wants to put our guys to knock each other out. There's another factor in boxing that the Saudi prince, a lot of people need to take into account. Boxing is a global sport. We're competing against every nation, just like they're competing against us. When Usyk wins this fight, he's going to take those belts back where? To the Ukraine. They're not coming to the U.S. If Tyson Fury wins them, where's he going to take them? Back home, right? That's how this works. When the Saudi prince thinks that he's going to take our American fighters just because we're the best and put us to take each other out, bro, you think you're slick. We're the best for a reason. But just like Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford did it, you know what they did? They beat every other nationality, every other country first, until there was only them 2 left standing. Everybody that Errol beat, Terrence beat. And they beat everybody. You ever notice Terrence Crawford's fighters? They're always called Barakanekala, right? Because he fights all the other countries. And then, when it was only us at top, let's find out who's the best, because it's competition, baby. And we're going to have to find out who's the best American fighter. If it's only me and you, we're both Americans. But in Tank Davis's situation with Shakur Stevenson and freaking Vasily High-Tech Lomachenko and Baratek, right? Those are 2 Ukrainian fighters and 2 U.S. fighters. All of a sudden, the Ukrainians think, shh, the U.S. fighters, they're savages. They'll attack each other. Let them do our dirty work. And we'll have 2 shots at the winner. Because it'll be Loma and Baratek to fight the only remaining U.S. champ. Because the Americans were so cocky that they knocked off each other. And they didn't see these guys waiting in the wind. Ha! We're coming for you. Maybe our American champion is good enough to beat both of them. And maybe he falls. But at least Ukraine put themselves in a better situation than just one fighter. At least the other nations publicly can come on and say, I don't fight my countrymen. George Kamboza was like, nah, I don't fight my countrymen. Vasily, I don't fight my countrymen. Saul Canelo Alvarez, I don't fight Mexicans. They can all do it, not Americans. They got us so fucked up that we view boxing like baseball, football, when you're not supposed to view it like that. We pick our boxers like we pick our American football team. No, we're supposed to be all our American fighters are supposed to represent America, and they're supposed to go out, get the belt, and bring them back. You know, we can compete against each other, yes, and fight against, yeah, of course. But first, let's get these belts, bring them back. And if we were to fight each other like the Mexicans do, like Japan does, they put a Japanese fighter to fight the Japanese champion. So when whoever wins, the belt stays in Japan. Whoever won the other night against the Mexicans, right? Navarrete, right? And Oscar Valdez. Where was the belt going? Nowhere. It's staying in Mexico. And that's when the Americans fight the American. Where the belt stay? Here. We got to do it like they doing it. They be looking at us and they be like, yo, the Americans are savages, bro. They pick their boxers individually, and all the American guys are all divided and grouped. So all the Tank Davis fans hate the Devin fans, all the Devin fans. Yo, that's how they got us, man. Fucking America got us like that. I was a victim of that for many years, many years. But thank God I had good men in my life, like my dad and like my uncles and shit that really saw the purity and the competition of the sport. And they were like, don't be blind by that, son. At the end of the day, we're only judged by how many belts we have. And he was like, in order to be champion, we need to bring these belts home. That's why America embraced our world champions, our heavyweight champions, because the heavyweight champion basically meant that your country was at the top of the world. You had the best, most prestigious belt in all of combat sports. It was the heavyweight championship of the world. That's why the heavyweight championship is revered so much. You know? So, yeah, man. Absolutely. What's up, guys? Let me read some of y'all messages. How y'all doing out there? What's up, message? What'd you say? Oscar, a legend in boxing and best promoter of what he did with the ring. Well, that's opinion. Best, best boxer, best promoter. Opinion. I can't co-sign that for you because anybody else can think that Bob Arum did a lot. And since Bob Arum was the one that made Oscar De La Hoya, Oscar De La Hoya was a boxer that was signed to Top Rank. Top Rank birthed Oscar De La Hoya. So you can say that's his teacher right there. So, but a student, a staple, a legend, you could say that all those things about Oscar. Yes, you can. Does not matter what he did outside. Got photographed with leotards, doing freaky shit with hotels, getting coked out. Yo, if that's what he's into, that's what he's into. But I know one thing, Oscar likes bitches. Whatever way, whatever floats his boat, that has absolutely nothing to do with the man he was in the ring. Nothing. Oscar was the real deal, baby. And when you look back at a man's career like that, yo, you gotta admit, that motherfucker fought the best of the best of the best, Oscar. And he is a 6th division world champion for a reason. And then, coked out and everything, that motherfucker was smart enough to know that if I didn't have it in me to build what I love, at least he put good people around him. Like Richard and all of them that build Oscar's thing. Oscar didn't build Golden Boy. No, he didn't. But what's the fucking name on the company? Does this say fucking Richards? No, it says Oscar De La Hoya on the fucking on the front of that building. So when people were getting all over him, like blah blah blah, I was like, you gotta admit, bro, homeboy, yo, he did all that in a cocaine-induced coma. When he woke up out of it, he was like, oh shit, I own the ringside. I got a promotional company. Bitch, who the fuck are you? You look good. You stay right there. Hey, yo, right? Oscar woke up like, yo, what the fuck? I still got shit. Yo, all right, then let's do some shit. Because he truly does love the sport. That's coming from a man that in actuality never wanted to box a day in his life. Oscar was this pretty Mexican kid that didn't want to get punched in his face, and his father forced him to box and made the man that he is today. The boxing legend that he is, the promoter snake that he is, the fucking promoter shark that he is, fucking all of it. And I love it all. I love it all because it's men like that. It's men like that that keep this sport alive. If it was so easy to do, how long has Floyd Mayweather had Mayweather promotion? Since he's been boxing, he's been signed to his own promotional company. To this day, they don't have a secretary. Where's the building? To this day, they don't got a front office. They don't got a team. No building. Not even a fax machine. Where is Mayweather promotion? Where is it on the planet? Nowhere. It's his cell phone in the back of his pocket. That's Mayweather promotion right there. It consists of whoever answers the phone, because there's no callback. Who do you call to set up a fight? Mayweather? Good luck with that one. You know what I'm saying? So you could say whatever you want about Oscar. Oscar De La Hoya has a fucking team. He has a secretary. He has people that work. Bernard Hopkins runs another part of it. They have people, offices. He has a fax machine, bro. You could call him and schedule a fight, whether he takes it or not. You can still call him, though, right? So he did that. Oscar did that. No matter what he was going through in his life and shit, my man did some shit. So you can see when some of the legends is good that they reinvent themselves in the sport that they love. They can no longer fight as a fighter, but they find other ways and means to give back to the sport. Yeah. Hold on 1 second, guys. What was that? All right, fight fans, I gotta cut this short. Unfortunately, my grandfather's nurse is saying that uh he's looks a little short winded, so she wants me to move him. So I have to go do this. So fight fans, listen, guys. Yeah, Oscar's a legend. Yeah, bossy. Okay, listen, guys. Fight fans, it's always been my pleasure here at Round One Sports Talk. Please don't forget to give these videos a like. Please subscribe to the channel. Leave any comments you would like me to talk about any of your fighters, any of the questions, or you want me to answer anything. Please leave them in the comments below, and I'll get right back to you. So, fight fans, you know how it is here. Where the all fights start. Round one. We had an amazing show here today. Take care of yourselves. I'm trying to finish up these holiday shopping. And like always, I'm on to the next one after this one here at Round One Sports Talk. You guys have a great day. Peace.